Today we're going to talk about the car behind me, a 1985 Lamborghini Jalpa. Now there's not a lot of information out there about the Jalpa, so if you're confused, allow me to sum it up for you. This car is the 1980s. You discover that the second you climb inside, when all you see is white. There are white door panels, for example, and white seats, a white center stack, center console, and parking brake boot. There's even a little white lid between the seats that you open to reveal a white storage compartment. But that's not my favorite 80s part of the interior. Oh no, that honor goes to the visor mirrors. When you're driving along, you can look at yourself like so, but then when you want to do a line of coke, visor mirror comes out. It's perfect! The sheer 80s-ness continues on the outside, where the car features a classic 80s wedge shape and a wide, low-slung, exotic look. In fact, you could almost think of it as a baby Countach. And that's exactly what it was, a baby Countach. You see, while the Countach cost around 100 grand in the 1980s, this thing was only 58. You'd be right to think of it as the Huracan compared to the Countach, which is more like the Aventador. But there's one problem. The Huracan is still a fast, exciting, high-performance vehicle that'll tear your face off when you're going around curves. But the Jalpa... Let me put it this way. The Jalpa has a 3.5-liter engine that made 255 horsepower. Now that dwarfed the motor in its chief rival, the Ferrari 308, which only had 240 horsepower. But today you can get a larger engine and more horsepower in a Chrysler 200. So is it awful, slow, lethargic? My entire life I've wondered about this car, and today I'm going to find out. All right, driving Lamborghini Jalpa, one of only 411 built. Steering is a little heavy. Oh, that sound is excellent. It's stunning. That's a 3.5-liter engine. The accelerator is tremendously heavy. Not what I expected. The clutch surprisingly isn't that heavy. It's actually okay. It sounds great. You would want to floor it all the time, but then you'd be worried that doing so, it would catch on fire. Try to make these turns. Oh, that heavy steering is killer to get old. Oh, a Murano convertible. We all make mistakes. For some reason, I feel like they're gonna break down. Like, the truth is, it's actually fine. There's no warning lights on. I need more arm muscles than this. I would be far more muscular if I owned a Jalpa. It doesn't feel fast, but when you get up to higher revs and you hear that noise, it doesn't really matter how fast you go. You would think that a car of this vintage, especially an old Jalpa, has been kind of tattered and crappy, but this is actually still a pretty good drive. Now the power mirrors, they do work. They're still, to this day, what a nice day to drive around the park and do a little arm exercise at the same time. the Jalpa? Pretty good. Okay, but only because you insist. First off, it's important to understand that no Jalpa in history is perfect. They all have panel fitment issues and leaky carburetors, and they make weird noises. But this one is actually pretty good. You can tell that because it's running. So let's start at the front. Up here you have your requisite 1980s pop-up headlights. And then there's the front trunk, which isn't actually a trunk. Instead, it holds the battery and the spare tire and a few other essentials. The actual trunk is around back, and you open it with a different key than you use to start the car, one of several keys that comes with the vehicle. Pop it open, and you'll find that it is surprisingly roomy back here. Not that you'd want to ever put anything in this trunk, because, you know, Italian car, engine, trunk, it'll be incinerated. Inside, the interior is pretty bare bones, which is fairly common of exotics of the time period. For example, you have a bunch of right angles everywhere with a bunch of switches that probably don't work all that well. And a bunch of gauges that don't either, like this speedometer that's showing 30 even though the car is stopped. But we do have air conditioning. And supple leather seats. And you also have a horn that is operated from the turn signal lever. You also have power windows. But the best part about the Jalpa is that the roof lifts off. Okay, that worked. And it stows directly behind the seats. So you can convert your Jalpa from a sleek coupe to a stylish convertible, when it's running, of course. So there you go, folks. That's everything you've ever wanted to know about the Lamborghini Jalpa.